Hi, this is Bill Johnson, and you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 284, and today we are going to be talking about George A. Romero's Day of the Dead from 1985. Currently Toddless, but he is going to be jumping in. He's just running a little late, so all you Todd lovers out there, don't you worry. You'll be hearing that soothing voice very soon. But meanwhile, I got Steve here with me, and Steve, I know we got movie clubs coming up this week, right?
We do. So the day that this episode releases, which is Friday, the June 30th, I believe, at 9 p.m. Eastern, we are doing a movie club. So we had a vote on our Discord. I put out maybe like 12 summer camp movies, so I figure it's kind of that time of year, so that would be the theme for the month. And surprisingly, to my kind of shock, I just threw this in there, didn't think it would ever win, but Terror at Bloodfart Lake won the vote. And because it's a really short movie, it's only an hour, I'm actually making a double feature and adding in Return to Terror at Bloodfart Lake as well, because it's also an hour. So double feature if you'd like to join us and watch what is inevitably going to be an absolute banger of a film or a series of films. Yeah, so join us for that, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of fun. If you're gonna watch this movie, this is really the way to watch it, is with a group of like-minded horror fans, and I think it'll be a good time. So all you need to do is ask us for a Discord link. It's absolutely free, and we will send you that, and we're going to post a link on Discord on Friday. Hope you can make it.
Awesome. And surprisingly, a 2.7 on Letterboxd. Pretty high.
It's got like what, 3 reviews, I think I saw.
I mean, I didn't look, maybe.
we're gonna definitely be doubling that, I think, after Friday.
Actually, it has a good amount of reviews from the one I'm looking at. If it's the one I'm looking at, yeah. And then, so here's
I can't imagine there's another one.
So if you're right. So if you're on the fence, I just want to read the quick plot synopsis here. When a group of college pals retreat to an isolated cabin for a rowdy weekend of debauchery and carnal pleasures, a madman dons his creepy scarecrow costume and begins to prey upon the unsuspecting youths in unusually creative ways. So there you go. Sounds like a fun time. The carnal pleasures, of course, probably the most fun, but
right.
Yeah. All right. As far as me, I had a guys' weekend this weekend. It was a lot of fun. We went up to North Conway, New Hampshire, for anyone that is familiar with the area. It's a very popular touristy destination, a lot of mountains, a lot of skiing, whatnot, lakes up there. We floated down the Saco River. We got in our inner tubes. We were going to do an all day 7-8 hour float, but we only did 3 hours because the weather was looking a little hairy. So we were a little concerned about getting stuck in a thunderstorm or something like that. So highly recommend doing that. That's fun. A lot of beers consumed on that float. But then, if you're into breweries, I highly recommend, if you're ever in the area, checking out a place called Ledge and also a place called Tuckerman Brewery. Those were my two favorites of the bunch that we went to. Also a place called Moat Brewery. They were more like a restaurant than an actual brewery, but I had a Cajun burger there and it was fucking 10 out of 10, man. Fucking one of the best burgers I've ever had, I gotta say. Yeah, other than that, beer pong was played, battle golf, whole bunch of fun stuff.
What is battle golf? You can't just throw that in without explaining it.
So I just discovered it actually this year. It's basically beer pong, but with golf. So there's 8 different sort of cups on each side, and you just putt back and forth and try to get them in. It's pretty fun. I can post a picture on the Discord for anyone that I'll add it to the as discussed on the podcast episode later this week, and you guys can see what battle golf is about for those of you that aren't familiar. So yeah, good times had by all. That was really my weekend. Anything happened with you this weekend, Steve? Anything fun?
I went to Montreal to visit my parents because I missed Father's Day, because Montreal's an island where I grew up, and they had a Formula One race. So 100,000 people were going to an island, which means that the 3 bridges were fucking just massively packed, and Montreal's a bad place to go to anyway because of construction and stuff. So I told my dad, look, I'm gonna skip a week and see you, the week after. It's actually a holiday there because it's like their provincial holiday, kind of like a state holiday, for Canada. So everything was close, which was great because there's no traffic. But yeah, nothing else outside of that, regular old stuff. We're back with the smoky air here in Canada because we have so many forest fires going on that it's like dangerous to go outside right now. The air index is like over the limit. It's a 1 to 10 scale where we were at 11 yesterday. Today we're like at an 8. So it's you can't even go outside. It's like campfire. It's fucking ridiculous. So yeah, unfortunately that's the way it is. And hopefully those fires get, turned down soon because but we're getting a lot of rain, so hopefully that'll help. It's been very dry lately and hot, but nothing compared to some of the US states I've seen. Like, people are sending me pictures. I think Todd, he was in Texas. That's why he missed last episode. He showed me something what was like 123 or felt like 123. Or goddamn, I don't know how people can do that.
We've had nothing like here, like no, hardly any warm days. Like, really, like it's been fucking like we were on a massive rain like pattern right now. It's like raining like almost every other day here. Kind of sucks, but hopefully it'll be good for when Steve comes in July to Salem. Speaking of Salem, we don't know anything yet, but things are in motion for a potential event in Salem this October. So definitely stay tuned to that. We have a meeting actually coming up the day this episode releases, and we hope to have more details available as soon as possible. I know a lot of people were talking about wanting to come. Obviously, booking hotels and whatnot is the toughest situation at that point. But I'm here to help, obviously, being right around the area. So, join our Discord. I'll give recommendations for hotels close by in the area and whatnot that aren't going to cost you an arm and a leg and whatnot. But yeah, stay tuned. Seems like things are going to happen in October. Plus, we're going to have other events. Definitely hoping to do some more horror convention meetups with certain people. I know in August, myself, Missy from our Discord. We have a few other listeners. We're all going to be going to Monster Mania, which is in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, August 4th through the 6th, I believe are the dates for that. So if anyone is in that area, I'll be there. And a few of the listeners, we can do a little meetup for that as well. And yeah, we'll let you know anything else coming up.
Yeah.
So
all right, one more piece of
sure.
thing that I want to mention, and this is one of the reasons why, if you're a listener of the show, you should join our Discord. We put a lot of like news and behind the scenes stuff on Discord all the time. And one thing I wanted to put out, I don't think I've ever done it on the show, but I do put it in Discord quite a bit, is our schedule for the summer, because we're actually organized somewhat this summer. So just so you all know, we have June 30th. Oh, that's today. Duh. You already know what this one is, I think. July 7th, next episode is going to be The Lost Boys, which is a Joe pick. July 14th is going to be Insidious 5. What was it called? Like Behind the Red Door or Behind the Door or something like that. Then July 21st, our infamous Shark Week episode, where we do one bad shark movie and one good shark movie, which is voted on by our listeners. So that's going to be fun. July 28th, very special one. That 70s decade episode that everyone is anticipating. We have received some lists, so thank you everyone who has sent them in. And if there's still a month left to send them in, so please do so. Just contact any of us and send us your top 10. It makes that episode a lot better. Then August 4th, it's going to be Feed Me, which is my pick. August 11th is going to be Todd's pick, which he hasn't done yet. And finally, August 18th, another very anticipated episode, our Wes Craven retrospective episode, which I'm pretty psyched about. So a lot of great episodes coming up in the next, like, what is this, like 8 or 9. I'm pretty psyched about it. And then it becomes like, new release season. So a lot of great stuff. I mean, Saw X, we're gonna get The Nun 2, we're gonna get a bunch of great stuff later.
Exorcist,
yeah. I said great stuff.
Joe. Yeah. Well, you never know.
You never know. That's right. You really don't.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for all those. I got to jump back on the Craven retrospective for sure. I think I have a few more, 3, maybe half a dozen more of his I haven't seen that I need to jump. So I got to start binging those. But I think that's going to be a really interesting discussion because after watching some of his movies, I don't know if he's, as good as people think sometimes. But, he did make 2 fucking legendary films. So we'll get into it in that retrospective. But 70s. Super pumped for that. Please continue sending your list. Obviously, that master list is always just so fun to do. And the more we have, the more definitive we can be about like what were the best, horror movies of the 70s. So currently I think we're at like maybe 10. I would like to get at least 30. So please continue to send them in, or I'll just start messaging everyone and pushing you to send them in. But you got a few more weeks to do that. So yeah, send them all in. Steve, what we've been watching this week? I got nothing. I had my guys' weekend trip, so really didn't have time this week to really sit down and watch much besides, of course, Sam's show's 90 Day Fiance and
which is a
whatever
horror in
else,
itself.
and whatever other housewife, they're on right now. But Steve, I'm sure you've been watching some good stuff. So what you got?
I do. So I got 3 this week. Since neither you or Todd are doing any, I guess I'll just hit them all instead of just keep picking 2. I've been on a 70s kick. I'm really pushing for this list. I don't feel happy with my list, to be honest. I very happy with my top 7. Not so happy with 8, 9, 10. I feel they're open for the picking. So I'm kind of watching stuff. Some of them rewatching stuff, just trying to solidify that 10 list. So my first one is from 1977. And I watched this, I believe it was either Shudder or Tubi, sorry, I forget which one, and that's The Island of Dr. Moreau. So this is the story of 3 people on a raft who are kind of brought to an island, with the current, and the island is not what it seems. There are some scientists on this island, and there are some kind of crazy looking people, and they're not too sure what's going on. And it turns out that it's a mad scientist who is turning people into animals and mixing their DNA, which is kind of creating its own kind of race that they're, kind of doing on this island. And it becomes kind of a revolution type thing. Like the animals start revolting against the humans, and it becomes a battle between the humans and the animals. It reminds me a lot of like Planet of the Apes, but the animals are kind of on the human, like reverse the roles essentially from Planet of the Apes, where it's the humans that are in cages, whereas this one's the human/animals that are in cages. The makeup is fantastic in this, like especially considering this is 1977. It kind of reminds me again of Planet of the Apes. They kind of look like what the apes do, but they're different types of animals, which is really cool. And overall, it's a solid film. Like I would say that I enjoyed it. It's just, I don't know if it would be like a top 10 of the 70 kind of enjoy. It's a little long at times. The human characters could have been fleshed out a little bit better, in my opinion. But if you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out, because maybe it wouldn't make your top 10. It's really well made, and I got to give it kudos for that. So that's The Island of Dr. Moreau. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5.
Have you seen the 96 version?
I did.
Marlon Brando. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you mentioned that, but would you say better or worse?
I haven't seen it in a while. I saw it like when it first came out on VHS, probably, but maybe better from memory. But I'd have to watch it again. I feel that they really kind of took what worked or didn't work in the original and kind of fixed it a little bit. But I just have been too long to really confirm that. It's something on my list, though. I am curious to see now that I've rewatched the original.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing a double feature on that, because I haven't seen either. I don't think I've ever seen the original, and I haven't seen the 96 one in ages. So
yeah, I feel
could make for a good one.
It's one of those weird ones where I feel more people have seen the remake than the original.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the originals definitely should be seen as well, because it was really good. So yeah, definitely check that out. Another one, of course, from the 70s. This is 1976 Martin, of course, George A. Romero directed film. So this is about a guy who he's like a serial killer. He drugs people with a needle, kind of like Dexter does, and then he drinks their blood. His family believe he's an ancient vampire, but he doesn't really believe in that. And it becomes this whole thing of people trying to stop him from killing, but also trying to figure out, is he a vampire? Does he just love blood? Kind of a mystery as to how it could go. And that's really kind of the gist of this story. I love Martin. I've seen it before. I saw it in college. I saw it again, I don't know, maybe 5 to 7 years ago, around that time. And it's not one of my favorite Romero films, if I'm being honest, but it's still a pretty effective film. If you don't know kind of the answer to the mystery, it's interesting where it goes. Is he a vampire? Is he not? It's got an unconventional film style. The sound effects are jarring, and it's tough to explain why without you watching it. But they make these really loud, uncomfortable noises in the film that really kind of make you feel a certain way. And it's really interesting the way that Romero used sound effects like that. The acting's actually pretty good as well. It's just, I feel the story could have been told a little bit better. It does get a little messy at times. It gets a little confusing with the vampire stuff too, because it's very vampire focused, and it's not at all for a long time. Then they go back to the vampire thing. It's just, I feel it could have been done a little bit better, but still really great film. I also gave it 3.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. And my last one is, of course, 70s, 1978, which I watched over on Tubi, and that is Joe Dante's Piranha. This is another one that I think a lot of people watched the remake and, Piranha 3D. And I don't know if a lot of people have seen the older one. People of our age probably have, but like newer people probably haven't. So I was curious to revisit this. It's been a long time. I have seen the remake a few times, but this one's been a good 20 years, I think, since I watched. So this is the story of a bunch of people are swimming in this like pool enclosure thing, and they have no idea like what's in there. They just swim in this body of water that clearly isn't, it's like part of a scientific research, and they get killed by piranhas. So they send a reporter, like investigative person, to find one of the people who went missing in that incident, which brings her to this place. And then they realize it's like a facility where they're breeding these kind of weird creatures and piranhas, which is weird because the creatures don't really come back in the film. It's just the piranhas. So I don't know why they even showed that. Maybe it was for future, sequel possibilities. But as she's investigating it, she drains the water from that tank, which goes into the river, which lets the piranhas loose into the wild. And the rest of the film is basically these two people trying to stop people from going to swimming and trying to get, the piranha thing handled. And this movie does not fucking hold back. We're talking a full-on like barbecue full of people in inner tubes on the lake. There's a fucking like kids camp, and do not mess around with the kids. They're just like a bunch of kids get like wiped out and killed and bitten to death. It's pretty brutal, especially for like that time period in the early in the 70s. I enjoyed it. It's a fun movie. I still think of Piranha 3D for some reason when I think Piranha, but you definitely have to pay respect to the original. It's a fun film. It's a good creature feature, and I'm surprised this one doesn't get as much attention as it does. A lot of creature features from that time do get a ton of attention, but this one not as much. So people should check it out. So that's Piranha 1978.
Awesome. We got a little time because we're still waiting for Todd. So, Steve, I would love to hear your sort of, I guess, rankings of. I know you watch Black Mirror, so I'd like to hear the sort of your rankings, I guess, of what you thought was from best to worst.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I guess we could, since we're still missing Todd. So I did, because, Joe talked about 4 of the 5 episodes on last week's episode. I got curious, and I'm like, okay, I'll check one out. And of course, 1 turned into 5 like really quickly because I really like the series. So here is my personal ranking. If I go from worst, oh boy, let's see. Which one I think was the worst? Probably Demon 79, which is the final episode, I guess, the finale, if you could look at it that way, because they're really like separate from each other. So quickly, the story is basically a woman is told that if she has to kill 3 people or the apocalypse will happen, and it's from like this demon character, and that's basically the gist of it. He's trying to like get his demon wings, and she's trying to save the world, but people want to stop her. It was cool, but it's very slow at times. And it felt long, like it's an hour, 15 minutes. And I wouldn't say it was a bad episode, but it definitely could have been tighter and a little bit better, in my opinion. The next one after that, I would say, would be Maisie Day, which is the story of a paparazzi. And she's like starting to regret her life choices as a paparazzi because she sees just how fucking disgusting and vile these people are to get the shot. But she gets kind of a tip for a shot that she might get, which would bring her a lot of money. So she kind of comes out of retirement just to get this one shot. And then I won't even spoil it, but it goes into a very surprising and unexpected horror route that I didn't see coming at all. And I loved that aspect of it, but it was such a disjointed episode that I don't think it was like the best ever. It's ironic because I actually really enjoyed the paparazzi thing, like the whole paparazzi angle. And it's also surprising because it didn't feel very Black Mirror to me. Joe had said it felt more like a creep show episode. And I'd kind of say the same thing about Demon 79. So the two non-Black Mirror episodes were kind of the weaker ones, in my opinion. After that, I would go into Loch Henry, which is the one Joe didn't watch. So this is about a guy who does a documentary about how his father was killed. And as he's making the documentary, he starts finding out family secrets that are pretty horrifying. So I'll leave it at that. Very solid performances, particularly by the lead in this one. I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was told well, and the ending really makes you kind of think and everything, and very powerful impact. I really like this episode. I think it's a great episode. It's just I happen to like the two others better, but I'd definitely say this is a solid one. Then I would go Joan is Awful. So this is a story of, oh my God, how do I even describe this? Basically, there's like a Netflix clone on this show. And this woman notices that there's a TV show on Netflix, which is basically her life from that day. And it exposes all her secrets. And she goes down the rabbit hole trying to figure out how this is happening, why this is happening, and also trying to deal with the impact that it's having on her life, because it kind of shows things that are very negative about her. And very interesting story. I like the kind of almost multiverse aspect to it. You know, multiverse is a hot topic these days in entertainment, and I think it handled it pretty well with a Black Mirror twist to it. Do I think the end is great? I don't know. It could have been slightly better ending, but still a very solid episode. And finally, Beyond the Sea. Joe, I think that you said that was your favorite as well. It might be a little too long, but it was still a really cool story, really great to think about, very Black Mirror. This is like Black Mirror to the core, and I really love the performances in this. I was curious where it was going, and it was a overall super solid episode. So solid season, honestly.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. I think, like, looking back though at like seasons, I think 1, 2, and 3, I think that some of those seasons didn't have like a bad episode, But I think this was definitely a step up from the previous season, like I said last week. So, and I think my rankings, without seeing Loch Henry yet, are probably exactly the same as yours were.
Right.
So yeah, good. Yeah, but yeah, pretty solid season overall. I mean, I'd give it, like, for the whole season as a whole, I'd give it like a solid 8. I think.
7 to 8 for me.
Maybe 7. Yeah, between 7 and 8. Yeah.
But yeah, they're all like, none of them were bad. I wouldn't say any of them were like bad. I didn't say like I didn't watch one and be like, oh, that was a waste of time. So
sure.
That's a pretty good, for a show like that. Just 5 episodes. It's just not a lot. I wish there was more. Just make shorter episodes or something. I don't know. Figure out a way to get more Black Mirror episodes, and I hope we don't have to wait like 4 years for the next one. But it's a cool I really love the concept of Black Mirror, the whole technology thing, which is why it's so weird that 2 of the 5 episodes don't really follow that concept.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a matter of they're running out of ideas or just they're not being inventive enough. But yeah, it was weird. It was like they bought a couple scripts that they were like, all right, let's just throw these ones in, in the hat and see what happens. But yeah, not bad at all.
All right. So before we get on to our next segment, how about a little bit of Joe?
Ooh.
And by Joe, I mean some coffee. So with our ad from Deadly Grounds Coffee.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds Coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds Coffee. Coffee to die for, and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
All right. Trivia time.
Todd's back.
Todd's here. Just in time. All right, we got quarter number 2. Standings are as follows. Steve in a commanding lead, 25 points. Joe and myself, Todd, tied at 22 apiece. Oh boy,
This is it.
this is the fucking it.
This is it today.
Oh shoot.
This is the end of the quarter.
Oh shit.
Maybe I should have done a couple of harder questions.
Same.
Oh boy. All right,
I'll start us off.
do it.
All right.
All right. In honor of Day of the Dead, all my questions are George A. Romero movie related.
Hold on.
Pressure
let
is
me,
on.
let me,
Yeah, yeah.
let me
Make
get
sure
all
you
my
guys are
George
unmuted.
DVDs out real quick.
All right. So, first one I got for you guys. Match the character to the movie.
Oh, okay.
And the character's name is Peter Washington.
That
Are
would
they
be
dead?
Dawn of the Dead.
That is Dawn of the Dead, correct.
I think I got it first.
It's,
What?
okay, it was a tie. I couldn't hear who
I
got
think
who
I
jumped
got it
in there.
first.
No, you didn't.
I did. I'm telling you, I did.
Well, of course you're gonna say you did because you're fucking winning.
Oh yeah, this is like you and Mondo again. Like,
All right, whatever.
Played by
One-
Mr.
We're both
Ken
getting one apiece right now.
Forey.
If,
All right.
if that holds up, it doesn't matter anyway because you're still up by 3.
well, we'll see.
Yeah,
All right,
we'll
you,
see
you,
about
you
that.
go, Todd.
What is the name of the cat in Alien?
Ripley.
Incorrect.
It's
Oh, shit. No, wait. I'm sorry. Fuck.
you said Alien,
It is-
right?
It's same cat in both of them. So
Is it?
no, because Aliens is like 6 years later.
Yeah,
but
I was
Alien,
gonna say.
yes.
Oh, what's his fucking name? I can only think of the Captain Marvel one, Merkin.
Merkin. Who the fuck is Merkin?
It's a Captain Marvel cat. I think.
Oh.
I don't
Can
remember.
I guess again?
Yeah,
You may guess again.
All right. Jonesy.
That is correct.
right.
Yeah.
My friend has a cat named, he has 2 cats named Jonesy and Ripley. So I was
Oh,
like,
that's
what-
cool.
yeah.
All right.
Shout out
so
to Joe's friend.
Yes.
I had a massive headache before, so I didn't think of any
Uh-oh.
trivia myself.
Oh no.
It's fine now. But thankfully, we got Kayla. Always.
Kayla,
Yeah,
Kayla.
I still have that list like handy.
Master list, yeah.
did you
Yeah.
take some Excedrin migraine, Steve?
Nope, just Tylenol. And it's
Tylenol,
because
okay. No, not
it's 'cause we-
Tylenol, you gotta
we-
do Excedrin.
we got fucking like terrible air right now in Canada.
Oh yeah, the one
Yeah.
you keep sending us.
Yeah, that's right. We're sharing the load.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a new
Ooh.
category, I think. Movie motives. So I'm going to explain the motive of a killer. You have to tell me what movie it's from.
I like it.
In what movie?
Millennium.
In what movie was the motive wanting revenge against the friends who humiliated her by posting an embarrassing video of her online, leading to her suicide?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that was
that Valentine?
Unfriended.
That's correct. It's Unfriended.
Nice.
Pretty good. Not as bad as people make it out to be. I like Dark Web.
Dark
one
Web's
is
cool. I
better.
like to see
Yeah.
that.
The dark web's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I see the
Alright.
first seen this first one once, maybe. I don't remember.
All right. You guys ready for this one?
Yeah.
You be quick. Whoever
Alright.
yells out first.
Is there food? The answer is yes.
By order of release, name all of the Romero zombie movies.
Night of the Living
Night of
Dead.
the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of
Ah,
the Dead,
yeah,
Land of the
yeah,
Dead, Night of the Dead, Survival of the Dead. Suck it, Steve.
I think I don't know what to do here.
Yeah, you can't ask questions like that. What are you thinking?
Well, Steve and I both get a point then because
Yeah.
I mean, obviously all know it.
Yeah,
We both
yeah.
start at the same time.
Right.
All right,
This
give
is-
me now. You give me the years.
68, 78,
Yep.
85, 2005, 2007, and 2009 for last one.
You were so close. 2008 though
dang
for
it.
Diary.
Fuck. Oh well. Steve and I.
You were very
Tied.
close though.
Perfect.
Sure.
Oh, Survival of the Dead's so fucking awful.
Yeah.
So is Diary, but Diary's not nearly as bad as Survival, but they're both
Mhm.
terrible. Okay. In Day of the Dead, what is the name of their little trailer getaway?
Oh fuck. What was it? It was the Ritz.
Correct?
Yes.
Nice.
I kept thinking the swamp, but that's Mash. All right. Still with Kayla. In Interview with the Vampire, what's the name of the interviewer's name?
Oh,
Or what is the interviewer's name?
um,
Not the actor, the character.
Christian Slater.
That's the actor.
This is
Been a minute. And
I watched it like 3 years ago, and it's
nah.
it's there. I just can't fucking place it. I don't know.
All right, so the name was Malloy.
Malloy.
Okay.
It
Okay,
says
that's not what I was thinking.
Last one for me.
Yep.
All right. 3 letterboxed reviews.
oh my.
Name the movie. Often shrugged off as a low-budget dry run for his later works, the roughness of the film's aesthetic is among the greatest attributes.
The Crazies.
Correct.
Wow, nice one. And mathematically, Steve is 1. Quarter
Nice.
number 2. Pack it up. Go forking him. We're done.
Boo.
I already picked my Punchman film too.
Oh,
Oh,
All right, Todd.
can't wait.
just
All right.
just for end of the year, right? Yeah. Still.
For shits and giggles here, what is Dr. Frankenstein's real name in Day of the Dead?
Oh fuck.
Says it like twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not Logan, is it?
Does it begin with an
It's
H?
definitely
Dr.
Logan.
Logan. Yeah.
Oh,
definitely
Dr. Logan. Nice.
Logan.
Steve, gosh damn.
Killing it.
I don't remember if Logan was him or the other scientist, but
I don't remember that fucking guy. The guy that plays Martin. He also
yeah,
plays
that's right. Exactly.
one of the Hispanic guys in Dawn of the
Don.
Dead.
Don. Yeah.
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 He's a
The
jack of
one
all
the
trades.
bandana. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
With some questionable makeup put on him.
All right.
Hey, what are you gonna do? 78.
I'm gonna switch it up here. So let's see if you guys. I will do a Romero question. This is my own.
Oh.
Laurie Cardile
Hmm.
is related to which character from another Romero film?
Oh.
Oh, good question. Oh man.
You can have the actor or the character, but it's
Mm. Oh man.
Fran.
wrong.
I don't remember. Fuck.
No? All right.
Yeah.
So the answer is she is the daughter of the news reporter from Night of the Living Dead.
Oh.
Damn
Interesting.
All right. Is that it?
That's it.
Steve takes it, 30 points. Joe and I, 24 apiece for the seller for quarter number 2. Steven, what is your pick? It better not be fucking Trump versus
No.
aliens too.
I'm not that mean this month, but I am a little mean this month.
Little mean. All right.
Just gotta pull it up here. So I decided to go with the zombie theme
Oh, nice.
because it's a zombie episode and we got to do something zombie. And it's a bit of a revenge from whatever crap one of you made me watch last time with dolls. So this will be Night of the Dead, starring Ron Jeremy.
Oh man. Is it starring
All
him or
right.
is it like 10 seconds?
No, starring. Ron
starring.
I don't know if he's actually in it
I'm a
that,
bit-
that much, but
man.
the poster
Excited.
says starring Ron Jeremy.
Oh god.
It's on Tubi.
I'm still gonna guess he's probably in it for 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's got 3 reviews.
3
That's what I was-
reviews. Nice.
that's what I was thinking of before, Joe. When
It's on
talking about-
Tubi.
yeah, it's on Tubi. Of course.
Okay.
Where else? I don't know anything about this film. I just saw it as I was scrolling, and I'm like, this is gonna be
The
bad.
poster's so awful.
I know.
Night
The
of
poster is
What's it called? Night
bad.
of the Dead.
Night of the Dead. It's the second one on Letterboxd that comes up.
Oh Lord.
Man, it's like someone got like Microsoft PowerPoint and made the fucking
It's
poster.
right.
Damn, he looks. Oh my word. That is
Oh yeah.
so bad.
Ooh.
Oh man.
A mad scientist seeks test subjects for a zombie experiment and gets a bevy of sorority girls to take the
Ooh.
bait.
Okay.
Perfect.
Love
It's
it.
a Day of the
Sound
Dead remake.
All right. Day of the Dead. Ready for it.
Yes.
George A. Romero, Day of the Dead, 1985, the darkest day of horror the world has ever known. Trapped in a missile silo, a small team of scientists, civilians, and trigger-happy soldiers battle desperately to ensure the survival of the human race. However, the tension inside the base is reaching a breaking point, and the zombies are gathering outside. So we are some years into the zombie apocalypse, and we start off in the lovely state of Florida. Where our lead character, she's flying around a helicopter with a couple other people, and they're looking for survivors. They land in a town, and they start calling for people. Hey, come over here, blah, 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 on their megaphone. And then the town wakes up and all the zombies start lumbering towards the helicopter. And they're like, fuck. So get in the helicopter, go back. And we're introduced to this military kind of research base that's surrounded by a high fence and it's underground. So our characters land, they go into the research facility, and we quickly learn that another soldier has died, the leader, and now they have a new one, Captain Rhodes. And we also learn that the soldiers and the civilian scientists aren't really getting along. We also have a guy, Dr. Logan, aka Dr. Frankenstein, who is supposed to be coming up with like some kind of cure or reason or whatever to figure out how to get out of the zombie outbreak. And he's a fucking psychopath. And he's trying to train the zombies to be nice to each other, where it introduces our character Bub, who's a zombie that he is training. We have Captain Rhodes, leader of the military, who's fucking trigger happy. He's pissed off and he's just mad at the civilians because they're like, what the fuck are you doing wasting my time? I need results. And Dr. Frankenstein just fucking around asking for food and everything. And then we have Lori, who's the strong female character who's trying to keep everyone fucking together, not give in to the army's bullshit, and just get through the ordeal. Man, I have such fond memories of this. Each time I watch it, it makes me feel like, you know, sometimes like you see something and you get that feeling that you had. This one is one of those movies that does that. I remember buying the Anchor Bay DVD, which I think is a 2-disc one, which I still have, which is a cover of Bub's face and it opens and it's pretty cool. But yeah, I watched this one when I was a teenager, fell in love with it. It's got some of the best zombies, I think, to the even to this point. Some of the coolest gore gags. It does have some annoying acting. Private Steele's annoying as fuck with his little goofy laugh. A lot of overacting in it, and it's obviously not as good as Dawn or Night, but I still love it. So that's my initial thoughts on Day of the Dead.
Yeah, I too have. It's been a long time since I've sat down and watched this in its entirety, but I have fond memories of watching this with my friends in high school, especially the "Is there food" scene. I just remember like we quoted that like so many times like after that. So yeah, I was really excited to revisit this after so long. And I gotta say, like, I think I like it even more now than I did then. I do think it is probably the weakest still of the trilogy, but I mean, that's like how we were saying that Evil Dead Rise was the weakest of all the Evil Dead movies. It's still a fucking awesome movie. I totally agree with you, Todd. The zombies in this are, I think, the best zombies of any of the Romero movies. They look fucking fantastic. Kudos Tom Savini, absolutely killed it in this. The gore effects are fucking 10 out of 10. You know, as far as negatives, I don't love the bunker as a setting. You know, I mean, I understand what they were going for, but I just found it too, you know, just too dull. You know, the mall was just an amazing place. The house in Night was just a great setting. The bunker just wasn't doing it for me. But I think the characters are all really interesting, and I think they definitely elevate the movie. Rhodes overacts, but he's a fucking amazing villain. You know, you just love to hate him. And just the introduction of Bub is amazing. It's just so interesting to have an intelligent zombie, or a zombie that can kind of think for itself. And I thought that was like a really nice sort of way to change things up a little bit. So overall, love this movie.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, no surprise. You know, Romero is my favorite horror director. And I just, yeah, like Todd said, watching this is like a warm hug. You know, that's like, even though it's kind of a, you know, dirty and bloody movie, it's just, I love watching it. It hadn't been a long time for me. I watched it when we did our Dawn of the Dead review last year, I think. So I rewatched it at the same time. And it's just like a good movie. There's a lot of stuff I really love about it. The gore is just unmatched, like so friggin' good, especially considering like the year. This is where Savini was really kind of ramping up and really going for some of the bigger like gore gags and stuff like that. I like how he evolved the zombies from Dawn. You know, you could tell they're kind of the same universe zombies because they still have a bit of that blue grayish tint, but it's not as goofy looking as you know, Dawn of the Dead. They look a little bit more like dead-like than in the original, so he definitely improved a lot here. There's some great lines in this, but of course some negatives, like you said. The acting at times is a little goofy. I agree with you, Joe, because it's in the bunker like practically the whole time. It's there's not like much color, you know, much life to it. It's kind of the same rooms over and over, and it's very kind of muted, you know, so it relies a lot on the story. And I don't like a lot of the bickering. Like they bicker for a really long time, you know, so that kind kind of after the first like 15 minutes, and from 15 minutes to like an hour, it's kind of long because of all that bickering. But once it gets to kind of the zombie stuff later on, it shines and it does not hold back. And I love it for it. So I mean, grade A movie for sure.
Yeah. So back to the beginning, I really like the tone it sets of like just the emptiness and the no hope, which mixes well with a kind of like an upbeat kind of rock soundtrack that I find really enduring. But then the title card with Day of the Dead, Dr. Tongue comes up there, like one of my favorite zombies, and his tongue's just hanging out, his jaw's ripped off. I think that's just fucking a cool scene. Even though you can, look a little closely and see like the alligator has tape around its mouth.
Yeah, right.
And the background is like a painting. But other than that, like I just fucking love that opening. Even if like, can you please stop fucking hello over and over again for the love of God? But I love that opening scene.
So you don't love the opening of the Cardell like turning around with that like super overact when she has the October calendar in front of her?
Yeah, that's or she's looking at the calendar like with this fucking
Yeah.
crazy look in her face. And then
It's iconic though. Like
it is now,
nowadays.
It's great, yeah.
But can you believe that Romero took that take of all the takes he probably had? Yeah.
He does that in fucking the Dawn of the Dead too, though. When Fran
Yeah.
wakes up from her little
Right.
he has a thing for like naps.
Yeah,
Or, like-
it's like almost shot for shot of
Yeah.
Fran when she takes a nap. It's interesting.
But yeah, the fucking soldiers fucking they're cultivating their marijuana when the zombies are just in the background trying to get in. I think it's very funny. I don't know, man. Like, so do you guys think that Sarah is banging Miguel, or do the soldiers just give her a fucking hard time because maybe they're buddies and because they're already talk down to Miguel constantly, like racism and all that shit. But then they talk down to her because she's obviously a woman and they don't like that. So are they really banging, or are they just giving him shit?
I took it that they were, because they seemed to be like there seemed to be something there. So I thought they were banging.
No, I didn't get banging feeling from them. I got the banging feeling with the Martin guy more than him for some reason. They had a really odd chemistry.
Well, he slaps the shit out of her twice.
Yeah, I know. Like
What the fuck?
But there's something between them that it's hard to explain. But I felt like there was history there, like the way she looked at him and stuff. So I thought she was banging him, not Miguel so much.
And then, I mean, Dr. Logan clearly like has every fucking bloodborne illness there is to man, because he's just covered in blood, and he's like he's got gloves on, but for what purpose? He's like touching everything. He's playing with his little fucking gadgets. I'm like, I don't know. He's fucking an idiot.
Yeah. So what did you guys think about the whole like, Dr. Logan situation? Because I thought like what he was doing, like it wasn't a bad thing, because he really seemed like he was genuinely trying to figure out like how to sort of stop the zombies or figure out how to coexist with them. Obviously he was doing the stuff with Bob, but obviously they took exception to him using people that they knew to work on the bodies. But I guess there was a little bit wrong there, but I don't know. I was okay with it. I'm Team Logan on this one.
Yeah, I think what he's doing, I think, is fine. The whole like scientific research on bodies and trying to figure things out, because when you're in an apocalypse situation, you can either look at it like you're just trying to survive, or you can look at it like you're trying to adapt to the situation, right? He's trying to adapt to the situation and get back to somewhat of a normal life, at least with the new reality. Because if you just like take zombies as zombies and they're just always enemies, then you're going to have to fight it the rest of your life. Whereas this, if there's a way to somehow tame them and make them productive, somehow productive parts of society again, and it's something that's worthy exploring. Now, what I don't agree with is him using the soldiers as experiments, because it's not like he has a lack of bodies out there. He could wrangle other people. It's just, I don't know why actually he picks the soldiers. Maybe it's because he knew them, or he can because he knows their memories, he can kind of work with them better. But I can see Road Society, like, fuck, that's like my buddy, that you took his fucking head off and just kept his brain, or whatever the case that he's doing. So yeah, I could see the military standpoint as well.
See, I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna disagree with both of you.
All right.
based solely on what Sarah says. And she says, well, you're just basing stuff we already know and not even doing it the right way. Like scientifically, he's like doing a lot of guesswork, is what she says. And then she's like, all right, fine. You can do all this shit. It takes 15 hours of fucking brain surgery to like get him docile. Like, I think he's wasting time. And if we're going to pick sides, I'm picking fucking Rhodes' side 100% on this. Cause like he's losing men. His guys are taking all the risks going out there, getting all the shit done. Is he a racist and a bigot? Absolutely. I'm not siding with him on that. But as far as like his guys doing all the fucking legwork, absolutely. And then yeah, dude, he's like, these are my fucking men, and he's cutting their heads off and using them as guinea pigs. And then he buried a fucking zombie, and those guys mourned over that fucking gravesite, and it's some zombie's body in there. I think Dr. Frankenstein is a piece of shit, and I think he probably fucked one of those zombies. And Captain Rhodes is not wrong. Are his methods incorrect? Sure. But is the core at it why he's upset incorrect? I don't think so. Team Rhodes.
All right then. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys definitely make some good points there, and it is a good point, Todd. Like with Logan, sort of. Yeah, I mean, what do you do in that situation? Like, what do you do? Like, do you fuck around and try to?
Cause, man.
I mean, I think cohabiting with the zombies is probably your best option at that point. You ain't gonna find a cure, So if you could kind of train them to sort of, kind of like Bub, like he was fucking.
Say hello, Aunt Alicia.
Right.
I mean, they're like gassing cars and shit and Land of the Dead. So like, why not, right? Like, I think he's onto something, and I don't know. I guess you're right. The risk is definitely high. Especially the military is kind of taking all of the kind of the risk in this case, because the scientists are kind of just holding back and doing the science. But that's kind of like real life, right? There'd be no progress if no one's going to do the work. But there'd be no progress if no one's doing the thinking either. So they have to
shoot
somehow
him all in the head.
Yeah, just
Captain Rhodes says, and then Logan's like, how many bullets does that take, Captain? Or whatever the fuck he says, little weasel. I don't know. I think they lost cause, honestly. I think it's done at this point. They lost communication with everybody. And I think the time frame is, Night and Dawn take place in the same week or whatever. And then days like 6 months after Night and Dawn or something like that. So I think they're done.
So I guess I have a question, and maybe I missed it at the beginning of this movie, or maybe it's explained more in the lore that you guys would know. Who facilitated this sort of mission? Like, why is the military agreeing to this, like, with these scientists? Is it like a rogue thing where they kind of got together?
No, it was facilitated by the government before it fell, and the military was supposed to protect these guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
why? But why continue? Like at that point, like you said, it's a lost cause, right? Like they're not getting paid. Like, you know what I mean? But I guess like you gotta live for something, right? At that point.
Well, even like they're not at odds with each other the whole time. Like when they get back from their mission with the helicopter, even Steele, who's an asshole the entire movie, isn't an asshole for like 30 seconds. He's like, hey, did you guys find anybody? Where'd you guys go? And he's like, we went up 200 miles each way at the coast, and they're all fucking devastated because they definitely want to get out of the bunker. They're all feeling it. But how do you guys feel about the supporting cast? You got the wise helicopter pilot. You got the drinking Irishman or Scott or whatever he is. I don't know. It was like a cliche cast if you wanted to nitpick it.
Yeah, I think most of them are pretty underutilized, like especially like Flyboy. I know he kind of sort of saves the day at the end, but like I felt like there wasn't a good build up to his character sort of coming through. Yeah, I mean, everyone else was kind of forgettable. Besides, I mean, I think the military, like obviously all those guys, Steele and Rhodes, definitely stick out as the two one's on that end, and then on that end, like it's weird because like Sarah, I guess, is supposed to be your main character here, but like even she, like I feel like doesn't shine. Like no one, I feel like overshines like as like the star of this movie, I guess. I mean, they're all good as characters, but there's not one that kind of sticks out to me.
Yeah, I like the two guys. They got it going on. They just want to live in their little like kind of the Ritz and just kind of do their own thing. And they had the idea from the start, like, why the fuck, if you're not gonna do this together, just go on an island and live out your days. Like, what's the point of staying in this bunker forever? I guess it's protected, right? But so is an island. I mean, we know Dawn of the Dead 2004. That doesn't necessarily work out for everyone, but I like their idea, and that you're right. At this point, they should just separate. And as far as the side characters, I mean, they're goofy. You know, they're all the stereotype of what you would expect in there. They don't take like big risks with any of the characters because they're really all fit. They're like really molded into that stereotype. But I like them. I don't think they're as memorable as the characters in Night or Dawn, but I think they're still pretty good, despite their acting at times.
Yeah, it does break a mold though. Like you would any other movie, there would be one soldier that would be like, I'm gonna help the scientists.
Probably.
Miguel kind of does, but he's more of a coward than anything, and he like commits suicide and kills everybody else, which is he's the biggest piece of shit character in this film,
Yeah,
I think.
he is.
Right. And why does he do that? Like just because he
He gives
snaps?
up, I guess.
Right? Yeah. It's fucked
He's
up.
got like his friends, like I don't know, people that generally look out for him. He basically killed them. He murdered them. You know,
Because Rhodes is a bad character, but he's not that bad of a character too. Like he does let the scientists live, and he does listen, and he does like argue his point. You know, it's a little rough the way he argues his point, but he does like have some kind of, you know, chat. He doesn't like fucking kill her. He just like sit down at the table. It's like his method was bad, but his idea was the worst. You know.
Yeah, and he doesn't like his challenge to authority, and you know, I get it too. Like it's easy for him as a person in the military to get results from other people in the military because they have to listen to you for the most part, you know. But then you have these fucking scientists that he already thinks is a waste of time because his viewpoint is, you know, violence. Like let's just shoot them all, you know what I mean? And he doesn't want to waste time dicking around with fucking experiments and shit like that. He just sees them as a waste of fucking food, the scientists. So for someone to challenge his authority in front of his men, it's kind of like, all right. But he also has one of the top deaths in fucking horror movie history, man. Like
For
I
sure.
don't know. But before we get there, how do you feel about how do you feel about Bub in general though? Like love him, hate him,
Love him.
indifferent.
I
Love him?
love Bub. I think
Love
he's
him.
such a great character and a great evolution of like Romero's story, which actually brings it to land, which is a great like, you know, as you know, I love the contrast of the movies and how they kind of evolve over time. And Bub is just super interesting. I actually wish we saw him more, but maybe if we saw him more, we'd get bored of it. You know, it's I was fascinated by that character. I kind of wish we knew more of his backstory somehow. I know
we do.
with the military thing, and that's yeah.
There-
But I wish
did
we
you
had.
read I'm sorry, did you read the comic for it?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, Bub's got a fucked up backstory, man.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, him and his son are like survivors, and then Bub is killed by another survivor group, and then they fucking roast his son like an open fucking pit, and it's like really dark. And then he gets captured by the military and turned into Bub. But yeah, Richard Sherman is really good in that role. Really cool guy. Have you guys got a chance to meet him? No,
No.
Yeah.
he's
No.
cool.
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets is Texas Frightmare. The first year I went, they did a photo op in full makeup, full Bub makeup that Savini did.
Oh my
and
God.
it looked fucking awesome. There's pictures online you could find with Romero. Like it was Romero, Bub, and like
Sick.
you, and it could be in the picture. Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah, really
Um,
cool. But yeah, Sherman's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple notes here. I always hated the part where the drunk Irishman hits a zombie with a shovel and then he goes, "Oh!" Every time I see that part, I fucking hate it. I cannot stand it. I'm not really thrilled on the happy ending, especially the way we transition to it. But before we get into the alternate scripts and stuff for it, do you think Dr. Logan did not turn into a zombie because it was heavily implied? And I know in the alternate versions, the original versions, he was not going to get up as a zombie. What do you think?
Do I think he becomes a zombie?
Correct. Because they kind of show him, they linger on him. He's been dead for a while and he's just chilling.
Right. I mean, he wasn't bit, right, by anything.
No.
No.
So,
it depends on the rules, right? Of like
Yeah, it depends on the
yeah,
rules.
and-
I'm gonna say no.
I think
I
he
feel like
does.
he's dead long enough.
I think he does.
I think he does come back because I think everyone will come back, kind of like the Walking Dead thing, right? Where you're kind of infected already, and it just people don't know it yet. And I think he would come back. They just didn't show it, so
Yeah, that would have been cool if he came back though, and him and Bub were fucking
yeah,
lumbering around.
it probably,
This kinda makes
that should have
sense.
been the ending. It's just
Yeah, that
like
would've been cool.
it shows the facility and it's him and Bob like playing with something, you know, like
On the phone, passing a
yeah, that'd be the best fucking ending.
But man, I that whole final sequence, I fucking love it. When Miguel's bitch ass, he gets bit, they cut his arm off, and he ends up killing himself. But before that, he takes the whole facility down with him by taking all the zombies down on that fucking elevator platform into the facility. Rhodes fucking just bolts out of there, leaves his men behind. Still's death is fucking, I love it. When he's like his last stand and he kills himself. But my favorite like kill scene in this movie is where one of the soldiers gets his head ripped off, and the attention to detail is so great that when he's screaming, like his vocal cords stretch and it goes into a higher pitch. I fucking love that, man. It's so cool.
Agreed. I mean, this is without a doubt the best part of the entire movie. Like those last 20 minutes once the zombies break into the bunker. It's fucking, and all the zombies are also different too. You know, you got one in football gear, you got one in golf gear, you got
Clown.
one in clown. Yeah. It's
Wedding
just
zombie. What were they
yeah. It's just like it's amazing though. It's just to see like all the different, you know, they don't all look the same, which in Dawn they did. Like, you know, it was very similar, a lot of them, but man, just like I just thought of like how much work that must have fucking taken for like them to do that.
Well, Todd, it was Halloween, right? Because we see the Halloween decorations at the beginning of the film, so people are in costume, right?
Good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
the 31st was the last day marked off, wasn't it?
Yeah, so in universe, it makes sense that there could be costume zombies.
If you want to even get weirder about it too, like assuming Night and Dawn are like a week or two, these people still had Halloween a couple weeks later, which would happen because we had COVID and we were still doing funky shit. So
yeah, exactly. No, it's I mean the gore in this is fucking
phenomenal.
Phenomenal. I mean, from like the kill you said with the vocal cord is amazing, and like you said, Rhodes is probably one of the best kills in horror history. Just yeah, it's so good, and the story behind how they filmed that and people getting sick off the guts and like it's
Romero's little cameo.
Yeah,
looking by.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's where this movie really shines. I think if you didn't have that good of a gore in the last 20 minutes, it wouldn't be. I mean, it would be good, but it wouldn't nearly be as good as it is. You know.
Happy ending. What are your guys' thoughts on it? We get the bait and switch ending where they run to the helicopter and we think a zombie attacks her, but then she wakes up from another dream and she's on an island with her homies and they're fishing and shit. What do you think?
I didn't love the fake out. You know, like I didn't really like any of the dream sequences. I don't think they're really necessary. I don't know if it was budgetary reasons. I would have liked to have seen them like take off on the helicopter and sort of kind of get away with maybe seeing the zombies going. You know, is it a happy ending? I don't know. I mean, where do they go? You know, you think they're just going to live out their days on that island and just enjoy their life, or are they going to attempt? Yeah. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I mean, could it have been better? Sure.
I mean, he also has a helicopter, so it's not like he's stuck there on that island, right? He can go get supplies and
depends on gas, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, they've been doing gas for the last 6 months or whatever, right? So I'm sure he knows where the gas spots are, and gas didn't seem to be a big problem in Dawn of the Dead either, right? It's out there. So I didn't love the ending of this. I thought it could have been stronger. I mean, if they all died and you saw Bub hanging out with Dr. Logan, would have been an amazing ending. Or I don't know, it just seemed too convenient and quick. It's just, and I like Dawn of the Dead. You don't know, right? They just go up. Who knows what happens to them? So I think that would have been almost a better ending if they did want to have a somewhat happy ending, is to shoot them off in the helicopter and leave the ending up to your own imagination.
Yeah, I think the ending's too small. Like, if this is going to be the ending of a trilogy at the time, like, go bigger, go do something. I like the idea of flying over the town and running out of gas and you fucking land and you're fucked and you're surrounded or something. Like, they could have done something better instead of the whole sappy ending. Yeah, especially like, I don't know, with your guys' you mentioned it being like constrained to one room essentially in the bunker. Then we could have had an opportunity to have more for the final few minutes, but alas, we did not get it. But Steve, have you ever read any of the original script?
I heard I did, like, way back, at times, and I watched a lot of stuff on it, but it's been so long that I don't remember it super well.
Same with me. The only thing I remember from the original script is obviously it was going to be a lot bigger. and the doctors were training the zombies to be like soldiers or whatever. And remember, there was a scene where a bunch of zombies were like going after survivors with guns and like reloading them, all fumbling bullets and stuff and shooting people. Would it have been a better movie? Who knows? Like George has always been fucked with budgets and restrictions, things like that. But I don't know. Interesting story. It looks like they were taking Bub to the next level. And I always see people complain too that Bub and then the later iteration Big Daddy being too smart. But like people always tend to forget, like Night of the Living Dead had a zombie getting a rock and smashing in a window and things like that. So like he's always had like the smartest zombies. They just evolved, like you said, I think Steve earlier. But
One note that I took that I have to mention because it made me laugh, like, internally. There's a scene where he describes what the facility was originally for. It's so they can have records on all the different species and blood types and records on people and all that stuff. And he's going on about how like interesting and all this information that he has in this giant cave system that no one would probably explore at this point. And I was just thinking like, yeah, I could do all that on my phone now. This entire fucking facility system that they have, I could just pick up my phone and get pretty much all the same information instantly.
yeah.
It's crazy how times have changed.
Yeah, imagine hanging out with him and he's like, "You look at this Fortune 500 company, dude. We don't need to talk about this fucking John. Like, stop talking about the numbers, dude. He's got binders open with like bullshit. I don't know. Do you guys have a favorite zombie besides Bub?
I really like the brain. It's just that image of just the brain attached to the body and it's still moving and stuff. It's really marks me for some reason. But as far as look wise, it's definitely the one with the title screen, the one with the tongue. It's so fucking good and iconic, to Romero lore.
100% agree. It's amazing.
Yeah, to be different, then I'll go with the zombie that gets his head cut off at the jaw and his eyes are still moving. That's a really cool shot.
That is a really cool shot.
And what about favorite kill besides Rhodes obviously being awesome, and then the one I already mentioned with the vocal cords stretching? Anything stand out?
Yeah, the vocal cord one is. I think I like that one better than Rhodes. I think just like being able to see his like mouth like fucking like move, still screaming, cool. And like once it's ripped off and it's still like moving. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, it's tough to top those two. They're just so fucking good. I mean, that's not like best kill of this movie. Those are some of the best kills in horror history, in my opinion. So it's really like top notch fucking Savini.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys want to get into the questions before that we rate it? Because some of them are Day of the Dead or at least George Romero themed. So you can ask us those questions on social media at the Horror Squad Podcast, or of course on our Discord, where the majority of the questions this week came from. So thank you very much to everybody who sent them in. First question, and it's a pretty long one. It's from Caleb, or it's a series of questions. I'd like to start off by saying thank you, squad, for picking Day of the Dead. It's my all-time favorite zombie movie, and I love everything about it, especially Bub, who is just the best zombie ever, and I don't think enough people have seen it. With that being said, this movie is very polarizing because before its release, it was being compared to Dawn, and they are very different movies. People like to harp on the acting, the music choice, and the tone of the movie for being too serious. It's years into the zombie apocalypse. You're in a bunker with zombies surrounding you with people who are losing it. Supplies are low, nowhere to go. I think the tone is only fitting. So do you guys think it's fair to compare it to the much more lighthearted Dawn?
No, absolutely not. Just like you can't compare Dawn to Night. They're three different films and they complement each other nicely, I think, as a trilogy. And no, Day of the Dead's awesome, but Dawn of the Dead is my favorite horror movie, period. And I think it's superior, but it doesn't mean it's like 1A, 1B, 1C with these threes,
Yeah. I agree with you, Todd, but I think it is fair, to criticize it because, it's a trilogy. So, it's like one after the other. People are going to always compare Night to Dawn, Dawn to the Day, and vice versa. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's fair, but they're also different at the same time. That it's not like a continuous story really either. You know what I mean? Where you're bringing back the same characters and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, do I fault people for comparing, contrasting, and attacking one or the other? No, but I mean, I'm in agreement with Todd where it's kind of they're all 1A, 1B, 1C.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you on this. It's just they're very different from each other, and that's kind of what makes it so genius is how the different tones that he has for his three movies, and then his fourth one, even Line of the Dead, is kind of a mix of all of them. So I just take it for what they are, but I also don't fault people for comparing them, because it is, like you said, part of the same world. So there's a certain expectations that come from that. Now, of course, it's been fucking 50 years. So, I mean, now people should know, but back then, especially, I think that's what they had, as a reference point was Dawn. So if they went in expecting something goofy, like I'm thinking if we had reviewed it when it was brand new, right? Like we're, doing this podcast in the 70s and, or the 80s, I think, at this point. And we're like, okay, then this new movie from George Romero came out. We'd probably be like, it's weird because it didn't have the comedy from the first, it's like a totally different movie. So we probably criticize it on that. So I think it's a fair comparison.
We'd have to mail out cassette tapes too.
That's right. Yeah, that's all the listeners. Exactly. His next question. The movie famously was supposed to be on a much bigger scale, and the story was also a bit different, but budget issues left Romero to take it back a few notches. Do you guys think the finished movie was a better outcome, or would you have liked to have seen the full vision?
I mean, I would have loved to have seen the full vision. Obviously, I'm sure there was more to be had there, and I think he did the ending with what he had money wise, because I think there was something there more to it.
Yeah, agreed. Like, I love Day, but yeah, he's, like I said earlier, he's always been a victim of, budgeting. So he does what he has to do. But yeah, like the third movie, you gotta go big or go home. And I can understand why people, because it kind of escalated from night, and then Dawn was bigger, and then Day back to night level small. So I get it.
Yeah, I always want to see the full vision. It sucks that there are these constraints, but that's the way film works. You just don't get the fucking budget you want, and issues are gonna pop up. So it would have been great to see, but it's a great movie, so I'm not sad about it. It's just, it is what it is. It's not like it's also filmed and they cut it back. Where like Night of Living Dead, the remake, that's what happened, right? They filmed all this great stuff and then cut it back, which that sucks, because it was filmed. Whereas this one, he didn't have the budget to start with, so that's kind of what happened. His next question, favorite kill, which we did, but also favorite quote.
Go ahead, Joe. Do your quote.
Is there food?
I just love Rhodes's fucking rant. The fuck you doing with my time? But also like when Steele and the other dude, I forget his name, are like just going on and on, like they won't shut the fuck up. And he's like, "It's all right, Steele, you're a throwback. Kidmen all got big dicks." I'm like, you're fucking weird, bro. Like you need to shut up. Listen to yourself.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, when I think of Day of the Dead, I immediately think to choke on him. Choke on him. I think that's such a great fucking line. It's such a badass line too. Yeah, so that's great. And he ends it with, finally, can I get a hello on Alicia impression? Thank you, squad. Y'all deserve big bub salutes.
Hello.
Well, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't top that. So.
No, you can have it.
You gotta do your Logan impersonation. Say hello to your Aunt Alicia.
All right.
Man, Day of the Dead fucking bombed, man, in the box office.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
What was its budget?
3.5 million budget,
Okay.
5 million gross worldwide. Gosh damn.
Not very good.
All right. So next series of questions are from Cody, Oddjob versus 007. He'd like to get our series ranking.
I go in order. I'm sorry. No, I go.
So let's add.
Oh, are we doing all 6 of them?
Might as well, right?
All of them? Oh,
Oof.
man.
That's probably all the same, but we'll.
Yes.
Right.
Survivor's
I mean,
the worst.
Mhm.
Or survival.
Yeah, Survival's the worst.
Terrible.
Then
Diary.
Diary. Yep.
Yeah.
Land.
Even though I love Land.
Me too.
Land. Then Day.
Then
Then Night, and then Dawn.
settled. Yeah.
So they wouldn't be in order, but they would be close. Yeah. No.
Whatever happened to I know people say this like every 3 years, but wasn't something like a script from Romero getting produced?
Aren't they making
Dead
it
Reckoning
like
or something? No, the Dead Reckoning was Land of the Dead. Yeah, weren't they?
there's something that someone's making of a Romero script?
It's a short.
Is
Is
it?
it short?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a
understood.
short. Yeah.
Boo.
And his last question is, with the 70s episode coming, can everyone name some underrated movies that people can listen to and check out before submitting a list? So are there like dark horses that you can think of that maybe people should check out?
Top of my head, it's a hard one. Maybe we table this for the next episode, do some homework.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's a little
What
hidden
is
gem.
that?
I would
What's that?
recommend it.
Never heard of that one. A little something
No.
called The Exorcist. You never heard of it because you're not a true horror fan, but a
So
little ditty.
I'll share my list of movies I haven't seen or need to
Okay.
rewatch for this list. So no promises, because some of them I haven't seen, but some of them I have seen and could make my list. Some might be on my list. I just won't tell you. So those are House, The Tenant, Eraserhead, From Beyond the Grave, Zombie, Deep Red, and Nosferatu the Vampire. So that's my list of things I want to check out before the end of the year that I either need to.
Have you seen Zombie before? Or is that a
Oh yeah,
revisit?
I actually watched it like a year ago. I just want to rewatch.
It's a good movie.
I-
It's a fucking good movie.
Yeah, spoiler, it might be on my list already.
I actually do have one.
Okay.
Tourist Trap. Love that
Tourist
movie.
Trap's good, dude.
Yeah, really love
fucking
it.
good.
So, and it's very well could make my top 10. So I'd recommend checking that one out.
Yeah, and the ones I talked about today on What Watched, Island of Dr. Moreau, Martin, and what was it, Piranha.
Oh,
Yeah.
what'd you think about Martin?
Oh, I've seen it before. It's an
Okay.
interesting film. It's good. I don't know if it's top 10 good yet, but it's a very interesting film. I like the, is he a vampire? Is he not a vampire? Like, what is he? What do you think? You're a fan?
I liked it a lot, but you know that old man was still alive like 2 years ago.
Seriously?
Yes, and he's
Jesus.
old in that fucking movie. And that's
Yeah,
what,
he's fucking
75?
super old in that
Something
movie.
like that. But I like him. He's like Nosferatu. I don't know.
Yeah.
But his Martin's acting is fucking kind of
Sure.
kind of weird. I remember one scene he's like, "You want me for sex, huh?" Shut up, Martin.
Yeah.
70s is loaded, man.
Yeah. So those are the ones I recommend people check out before the end of the year. All right, so that's all the questions we had this week. So thank you very much for everyone for asking. We cannot do this segment without you. Are we ready to rate it?
Sure.
Yes, let's do it. I really love this. Actually, probably more than I remembered. I think it has its slow moments, but man, when it shines really, really well. So I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's a great movie. One that it's one of the best zombies. I think the best looking zombies put to film, honestly. I'll just come out and say it. I mean, Walking Dead, obviously pretty damn amazing, but for its time, I think some of the best looking zombies I've seen. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5. Love it.
I agree. I'm slightly higher at a 5 out of 5. I don't think it's a perfect film by any means, but I mean, fuck, dude, the gore's great. Memorable lines. I really like the setting. I like the music. I love Romero. I love his direction. And there's just so much to like about it. I'll never forget the first time seeing the zombie on the stretcher kind of get up and lean towards the camera and his fucking guts just plop on the ground. Fucking amazing. So 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm at a 4.5 out of 5 as well. I just can't give it a full 5 because, if I compare it, and I know we just talked about comparing it to Dawn, but Dawn is so much more entertaining. There's a lot more going on. The characters are more interesting. It's so much better. And to give it the same score as Dawn would almost be like weird to me. And there's just like that kind of end of first act, beginning of second act, I find slow. And it's not until later that this movie kind of really, really shines. I still love it to death, but I couldn't give it quite the 5, so I gave it 4.5 as well, which is fucking amazing. Like, it's not like it's not like I gave it a 2 here, but
Yeah, and I would give Night of the Living Dead a 5 out of 5 too. Still completely 3 different films still, but 3 different films I love for different reasons.
yeah, we should do that one day. We haven't done the original Night of the Living Dead, and I'm super eager to do Land of the Dead. I haven't seen it in a few years, and I think there's a lot to discuss.
Yeah,
So we'll definitely do that at some point.
and we
as
gotta
well.
do World War Z at some point just for fun.
Yeah. Just
Uh,
plenty of episodes.
There's a
to go.
lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to go. And that's it for the episode. Thank you, everyone, for checking it out. As we said, we have the movie club actually today, the day that this episode releases, where we will watch the indie beloved classic Terror at Bloodfart Lake and its sequel, Return to Terror at Bloodfart
Chris
Lake.
Seaver, dude.
Chris Seaver, yeah, double
Chris
feature.
Seaver.
Chris Seaver.
Wow, cool.
Hey, it was voted on by our Discord.
Hey,
so-
I like Chris Seaver, man.
Yeah. Don't forget to check out our social medias at the Horror Squad Podcast. That's on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Discord, we talk about all the time. So just ask us for a link. It's absolutely free. Check out our merch at tpublic.com. And next week, we are going to Santa Clara. Is that it? I think am I going to get in trouble for that?
Don't you dare get it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to guess. You can be wrong this time.
Yeah, it's not exactly. So send hate mail to me when I got it wrong. But we're going to California for the Lost Boys.
Going
of
to the
course, the
beach.
absolute classic, and I'm looking forward to discussing it. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. We got some great episodes coming up. Don't forget to send us your 1970s list, and you can win a little bit of a prize, which I will talk about next week. I was supposed to talk about it this week, but I pushed it out by a week because I have to figure out exactly what I'm going to give out. But it'll be awesome, I promise you. And that's it. So thank you for listening. Bye.
See ya.